Michelle Walker Wade with another Get Mobilized moment. I have two small sections I want to read to you from two books, which I'll post the titles of the books at the end of the video. And I'll read them and then just want to share a few things, all right? Okay, so one says, to do or not to do, to try or not to try. Most people will vote no, whether they consider themselves brave or not. Uncertainty and the prospect of failure can be very scary noises in the shadows. Most people will choose unhappiness over uncertainty. I'm going to say that one again. Most people will choose unhappiness over uncertainty. For years, I set goals, made resolutions to change direction, and nothing came of either. I was just as insecure and scared as the rest of the world. Well, that's my first reading that I wanted to share with you. And then I'm going to share one other. And again, I'll post the book titles at the end of the video. So the next one that I want to read, people in an organization will not change just to change, but will focus their attention on a purpose that the organization expects. So I'm going to read that again. People in an organization will not change just to change, but they will focus their attention on a purpose that the organization expects. And so what I pull from this is saying people only change when expectations change. People only change when expectations. A lot of times, this is what I see. Organizations are changing, and somewhere at some high up level, the business, maybe it's not high, maybe it's more like middle management, but somewhere at some level, there's this knowing that things have to change, and the organization is going through this transformation, but it's not systemic within the organization. I've seen organizations where they wanted change management, but they didn't want the top leadership. They said the top leadership, they refused to be involved in the change management sessions and workshops that we're going to do. How can you change if the top leadership won't be involved in change management? You can't change from the bottom up. And then you see other organizations where they just, oh my goodness, they work change to the top leaders and maybe middle management. And then the trickle down effect, as you get down to the lower workers, they kind of just don't get it. But then those are the workers who are working with the customers. And so then you say, well, why aren't they changing? Well, do they know what the organization now expects? And have they been given the same opportunity and access to training and the adjusting of a mentality or the changing of a way of thinking so that they can change with the organization? So sometimes what happens is people they're not a part of it, so they don't respond to the change because they don't know that there was an expectation. So expectation and changes have to go together. Now, on a personal level, you could say, my organization expects something different of me, so I'm going to change. And that is a choice that everyone has to make, okay? Or I could say, my leader expects something different from me, so I have to change. Or I could say, my loved ones, my personal life, my loved ones, my husband, my kids, whomever, expect something different from me, so I have to change. And this is funny that I'm talking about loved ones. I know, and because I've worked with people for so long, it's like when when teenagers grow up and then they go away to college or they become college age and they kind of move on, and now the parents are just like, gosh, we don't know what to do with ourselves. And then they try to hold on to their teenage or their young adult children as their friends, and they are your friend. But at this point now, your child is a young adult. They're going on to college, or they're going on to vocational school, or they're working full time, whatever the case may be. So now your child now expects something different from you, and so you have to change. And it goes both ways, But right now, they don't, at that age, they don't need the same type of parent that they needed before, maybe. Or it's just time for them to kind of spread their wings and find out more about who they are outside of the confines that, as a parent, you've defined for them. So now they expect something different from you. And so you have to change. Last comment. I expect something different from me. So I have to change. And that is probably the most powerful reason to change. I want something different for myself. I want something that I currently do not have. I want to attain something that I have not yet attained, or achieve something that I have not yet achieved. And I want it bad enough to change. I have a different expectation of myself. I have it, of me, a different expectation of myself. And so I have to change. But if, like I read in that first book, it said some people will choose uncertainty, uncomfortableness. Oh my goodness. Some people will choose unhappiness over uncertainty. One thing about change, there is uncertainty. So what are you going to do? You're going to stay unhappy? Or are you going to just take the chance on change? Take the chance on change. Don't be like those people. And this book says most people will choose unhappiness over uncertainty. If you want something different for yourself, if your organization wants something different out of you, if your leader wants something different out of you, if your loved ones want something different out of you, you have to choose the uncertain path of change. Choose the uncertain path of change and release yourself and others from the current unhappiness. Don't settle for unhappiness. Go with uncertainty. Go with uncertainty. And do it in a way where it's uncertain and you may be afraid, but you're moving forward because you have an expectation. Do it in a way where it is informed decisions to the extent that you can. Now, when you're setting out to do something new, you can study. There's tons of books. YouTube it, Twitter it, go on LinkedIn. You can do so much of the research initially, if you're that type of person, and then you kind of have an idea what to expect, and then go ahead and do it, but don't just not do anything. Don't settle for unhappiness. Don't settle for unhappiness. Take uncertainty, and most times it will turn out better than you thought, and it will be easier than you thought. It may not be as quick as you thought. Now, that's a whole nother story. We want things to happen quickly. Sometimes change or transformation, it just takes a while. You know what? So be it. Just do it. Just do it. Don't settle for unhappiness, trying to avoid uncertainty. All right? That's all I have to say today. And I hope you have a great day. This has been Michelle Walker Wade with a Get Mobilized moment. Listen, you prepare to do well and get mobilized. All right.